Welcome team. Let's begin our learning for extreme programming to the next level. In the last session we talked about extreme programming, and also we have seen that industrial XP is the variant of original XP so that it can add up the organizations which are large and the teams are large. So we will talk about industrial XP now. In the late 1990s, three software visionaries named Kent Beck, Ward Cunningham, and Ron Jeffries pioneered extreme programming, an agile software process that changed the way the world plans, tests, builds, and releases software. However, the use of XP is limited to small and medium organizations. Therefore, industrial extreme programming, that is IXP, is developed to meet the needs of larger organization as an evolution of XP. Since then, Industrial Logic, this is the organization which has been working following the agile practices since 1990s, and other XP and agile leaders have evolved XP within diverse industries. Industrial XP is the result of that. It is XP embedded into an organization's DNA. Industrial XP's approach to values and its expanded and extended practices aid an entire project community from management and domain expert to programmers and testers. So this approach is adding value to all the stakeholders which are there in the development of a project. So industrial extreme programming, that is IXP, is described as IXP is an organic evolution of XP. It is imbued with XP's minimalist, customer-centric and test-driven spirit. It differs from the original XP in its greater inclusion of management, its expanded role for customers, and its upgraded technical practices. Now this image, if you can see towards the right hand side, I have taken it from the industrialxp.org website. So this website basically gives you everything about industrial XP. The design is so nice that I liked it very much, and I am going to take you to the tour of this website, and as you can see, these red marked things are the values, and these are the practices which are getting followed in the industrial XP. Some of these practices we will discuss now. So these practices basically are designed to help ensure that an XP project works successfully for significant projects within the large organization. The first one among that is readiness assessment. Now prior to initiation of an IXP project, the organization should conduct the readiness assessment. So here the IXP team ascertains that whether all members of the project community, that is stakeholders, developers, management, are on board. They have the proper environment established and they understand the skill levels which is required for this project to be started, which is there in place. The second one is project community. Now if you remember, the classic XP suggests that the right people should be used to populate the agile teams so that the success is ensured. The implication is that the people on the team must be well trained, adaptable and skilled, and they have the proper temperament to contribute to a self-organizing team. Now when XP is to be applied for a significant project in the large organization, the concept of team has been morphed into that of the community. So the IXP team determines whether the right people with the right skills and training have been staged for the project. So this community encompasses technologists and all the other stakeholders. Now the next one is project chartering. The IXP team assesses the project itself to determine whether an appropriate business justification for the project exists and whether the project will further the overall goals and objectives of the organization. So two things are evaluated. First one, whether the project is really as per the business goal which is there for the organization, and second, it is going to take the organization to the next level in establishing milestones in the series of softwares which they have developed. So this is how project chartering is done. Then the next is test driven management. An IXP team establishes a series of measurable destinations that assess progress to date and then defines mechanisms for determining whether or not these destinations have been reached. So I am defining those milestones, and after reaching there I am evaluating whether really that has been implemented correctly or not, and then only the further path is traveled. The next is retrospectives. An IXP team conducts a specialized technical review after a software increment is delivered. This is called a retrospective, which is the review which examines issues, events and lesson learned across a software increment or the entire software release has been taken place. So it is like looking back and seeing if we have got the success, it was because of these things. These kinds of issues came, these are the lessons learned, and we are going to now exactly follow the things which we have learned. So this is how retrospectives are conducted. The next is continuous learning. The IXP team is encouraged and possibly incented to learn new methods and techniques that can lead to a higher quality product. So this is how teams are always motivated, so that their learning is happening continuously. So these are some of the practices which we have seen. Now in addition to these 6 practices which we have discussed, IXP modifies a number of existing XP practices. So now those we are going to understand when we take a tour at industrialxp.org. So let me take you there. So this is the website which we are going to visit to. So this is the place where I wanted you to come to. Now as you can read it here, the values are there in the red box and the practices are there in the blue. Now as we go on, we have to just click it and we have to start learning. So we will start from the values. So as you can see here, what happens is we are going to identify teams' values and discover whether they align with the XP practices. So what is the way out to identify the values, that we will discuss. So it is rightly said that what we value is going to influence our behavior. And Ken Schwaber, who is the inventor of these XP practices, had once said the values are more important than the practices. So XP has defined the 4 values, that is communication, simplicity, feedback and courage. Now what happens is with IXP, the project community has been asked to discover their own values. So how that is done? That is done by assembling the project community. Then everyone is contributing to the values, a list of values prepared by each one. Now they are going to vote their top values, and then we are going to pick up 5 values that have the top scores. So this is how values are prepared for that particular community. Now the values which we have seen in that red box, from where we have come here, so these are the values which are prepared by Industrial Logic's values. Okay, so what they are saying is communication, enjoyment, learning, simplicity and quality, these are their values. So these values have come out of Industrial Logic's discovery of what they value. So our values are going to differ from theirs. In fact it might happen that as we go along the path, it might happen that values are going to change. So what matters most is that we truly value our values. So they may guide us. So this is how values are decided for the project community. Now we are going to talk about these practices. Now I may not go across all the practices which are mentioned here. Some of them we have already seen, and some of them which I found very interesting, and that pictorial representation of it was very nicely done. So that you can use when you study about XP also. So that I'll focus on. So the first value which I'm going to talk about is storytelling. So as you can see the picture, here what happens is the customer is going to tell the stories about what they expect from the system when it is built. So a story represents the functionality of the system. So stories are going to provide the context for communication between the customer and the development team. So they are not only revised during storytelling, they are also updated during the course of the project as and when more information becomes available. Now what is important is index cards are used to describe the features of the system to be built. So this is how we are going to prepare the index card for that particular story, and sticky notes are given so that the story is described. Now when we talk about story, the 5-word rule is used. That is interesting to know. So 5-word rule says when we write these stories, the title should contain only 5 words. If there are more than 5 words, we are going to review it. If it is clear enough, then we are going to keep it as it is. Otherwise it will be reviewed till we reach this level of 5 word. And the other interesting thing is that active verb rule is also used. So verb communication action and actions takes in people's minds. So passive speech is boring, and that is why to make it inspiring, we are going to do it like this. So compute billing info, the verb is used first. So instead of giving the title as billing information computation. So I hope you understand it. Okay. The next one is sitting together. So as you can see, people are sitting together to maximize communication. When I first saw this picture, I was like, oh no, how they are going to focus when so many people are there involved. So the highest bandwidth communication known to man is face-to-face communication. So it is said that to set up a team for success, XP teams are going to sit together. So this is going to enable team members to collaborate quickly and effectively. So again the question comes, how it is going to allow teams to focus. So as an individual becomes used to this pairing part. If you remember, pair programming is the one of the concept which we had seen in the XP. So because of this habit, it doesn't happen that I am not able to focus. Even if there is so much of noise in the back, there it becomes the background noise when I focus on it. So this is how people are sitting together to take out most of their teams. So next is the pairing part. As you can see, literally 2 people are sitting together using a single workstation, okay, and they are continuously reviewing each other's work and they are providing the feedback. So as said by Kent Peck, pair programming is a dialogue between 2 people trying to simultaneously program and analyze and design and test and understand together how to program better. It is a conversation at many levels, assisted by and focused on the computer. The interesting thing which I found out about styles of pair programming was this, where one computer, one mouse, one keyboard is there. So the pair is swapping mouse and keyboard, and one has mouse and one has keyboard. The other style was one computer, 2 mice and 2 keyboards, and other was 2 computers each with a mice and keyboard working on the same code. So this is how the risks which are listed here of solo programming are avoided because of pair programming. So these are tunnel vision, so frog in a well. So the focus is very limited, fatigue, higher defects, less knowledge transfer, more distractions, less refactoring, weaker problem solving. These are the problems of solo programming that are getting resolved because of the pairing part. So next interesting practice which I found was small teams. So as you can see, people are working in a group. So the communication overhead in large teams can often be a sustainable block. So to maintain agility, a large team can be composed of small sub-teams that collaborate with the project community. So sub-teams are usually of 2 natures. They are permanent, which are identified at the start of the project based on the core competency, for example QA team, database team, programming team, mainframe team, etc., and transient. So these are identified at the start of an iteration based on the collaboration needed for the story. So large agile teams are composed of small agile sub teams. This is the core of having the nice output which is coming out after the teams have worked together, and it becomes easier for teams to collaborate when they are small in the number. The next practice is domain driven design. So this was not there in the original XP, which is different. So whenever the design is prepared, the team is reflecting on the domain model, in the design part. So in domain driven design, the software development community widely acknowledges that domain modeling is the central part to the software design. So through domain models, software developers are able to express rich functionality, translate it into a software implementation that truly serves the needs of its users. But despite its obvious importance, there are few practical resources that explain how to incorporate effective domain modeling into the software development driven process. So how it happens? So get all the team members to speak the same language, connect models and implementations more deeply, sharpen key distinctions in a model, manage the life cycle of a domain project, write domain code that is safe to combine in elaborated ways, and distill the core of a complex domain. So this is how domain driven design, this is the practice which is getting followed in the IXP. And the last practice which we are going to talk about was this retrospective. These we have seen in earlier discussion also, but with this image, I hope you would be getting that nice idea about it. So we are going to continuously identify what is working and what can be improved. So this happens after every release and also happens when the complete product is delivered. So what is the core idea? A completely successful project is the one which you would like to repeat in exactly the same way next time, and that is why we are going to assess whether it went well or not, and what went wrong, where the improvement is needed. So this is how sticky notes are added, and this is giving the team idea of what and how we should follow it. So this is the picture of an iteration retrospective. So I hope this gives you the better idea about IXP practices that are getting followed. So thank you very much and see you in the next session.